Guess what? My episode. Try again.
Oh, come on. Get it together, Phil.
Guess what? My episode 2, which was the technology I was using, video here on my channel, was recently reviewed by an online podcast. I was floored, and it's pretty good. They did a deep dive. These two people, they did a deep dive about my episode 2. I was like floored. As a matter of fact, I was floored. My question I want to give to you now, especially for you new YouTubers, how did this happen? How did it come about? Let me tell you, the answer is surprising, and probably one you won't believe it. Check out a few minutes here of them reviewing, as they called it, a deep dive on the episode of a new YouTuber and the technology that he, being me, was using.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into what it takes to start a YouTube channel, maybe a bit later in life, specifically if you're over 50.
Yeah, and our source material is fantastic for this. It's a transcript from What's Up Boomer on YouTube. The creator really breaks down their early tech setup and maybe even more crucially, their whole mindset jumping in.
Exactly. So whether you're thinking about doing this yourself or you're just curious about creators or maybe watching someone find a new passion.
Right. There's something here for a lot of folks, I think.
Definitely. Our goal here is to pull out the key bits of tech info and the mental game involved. We want to see what it's really like for someone starting out on this path.
And what jumped out at me right away was the focus on mindset. This idea of starting for an audience of no one, which then becomes an audience of one, meaning just yourself. That's a really powerful way to begin, I think.
It totally takes the pressure off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that little story, the anecdote about their son's drawing, the giraffe with no neck.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
It just sticks with you, right?
Yeah.
Such a simple way to say focus on your vision, even if it's unconventional. A necklace giraffe. It's all about doing your own thing.
It really is, that intrinsic motivation. And then they mentioned something I bet a lot of new creators feel, that sort of shock after the first video does okay.
Yeah, like hundreds of comments, subscribers pouring in.
And suddenly it's, oh, wait, what do I do now? That kind of panic.
That pressure to suddenly be perfect, right? When you're just testing the waters. But the real insight is how they consciously decided to just breathe.
And stick to that audience of one idea.
Exactly. Stay true to what you want to make, and the right community, the authentic one, will find you eventually. It's about the process, not just, chasing numbers.
Which leads perfectly into the tech side of things. And what's striking is how simple and accessible their approach is. The camera is just an iPhone 14 Plus.
It really shows how far smartphone cameras have come, doesn't it?
Totally.
You don't need a massive budget to start. And thinking about maybe getting an iPhone 16 later, but tying it to their T-Mobile deal, that's just smart.
It is very practical, not just getting the latest gadget because it's new, but thinking about real needs and opportunities.
And the setup itself. Phone on a little handheld tripod, leveled out, couldn't be simpler.
No complicated rigs, nothing intimidating, just press record.
Right. And they mentioned the built-in cinematic mode on the iPhone for that background blur, the bokeh effect.
Yeah, bokeh. Which is a big deal. Think about it. Getting that shallow depth of field used to mean needing, like, those bigger cameras.
The Canon T2i, the Sony a6000 they mentioned owning before.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk audio.
Yeah.
Because we all know bad audio can kill a video, right?
Oh, absolutely. Viewers are way less forgiving of bad sound than maybe slightly imperfect video.
So they're using an external mic, a Shure MV88 or something similar. It's interesting they admit the iPhone mic might be okay in their setup.
But they still opt for the external one. That shows they understand audio quality really matters for keeping people watching.
Right. It's about the listener experience. And they're already thinking ahead, planning to get a DJI mic.
Yeah. For situations where they might be further from the camera, they learned that the hard way, apparently, on a previous video where they were like 6 feet away and the sound wasn't great.
See? Learning by doing. It's all about improving that quality step by step.
Exactly.
Okay. Lighting. Another key piece, their current method. Super straightforward.
Just natural daylight, right? From a window in the morning, simple, free, often looks great.
And I loved the point about maybe having wasted money on fancy photo light things before.
Yeah, that's relatable for anyone who's gone down the gear rabbit hole. It reinforces that you don't need to spend a ton up front.
And their advice: if you do need artificial light, use bright daylight balance bulbs around 5,000 K. That's solid, practical advice.
Very practical. That color temperature mimics daylight. Usually looks...
And that little aside about the viewer comment, shout out to Diane, about the ceiling fan being distracting.
Right. Shows how much those little visual details can matter to the audience. Good reminder.
Okay, editing. But for this YouTube channel now, they've switched to CapCut.
Mostly because it's easy, especially for longer videos, they said. And they used InShot before that for shorter stuff.
It's a smart progression, isn't it? Start simple, master the basics.
And then maybe look at more pro-level software, like Final Cut or Premiere Pro if you feel you need it down the line. Why make it harder than it needs to be at the start?
Plus, their prediction about AI making editing even easier in the future. Probably spot on.
Oh, for sure. It's already changing rapidly.
And their filming style sounds very manageable.
But what I found really interesting was the emphasis on, like, old school notebooks.
Yeah. For brainstorming ideas, they even mentioned having a big collection. I kind of love that analog approach still have a place.
Me too. It's that tactile thing. Sometimes ideas flow better with pen and paper. That's brave, but smart. It's direct engagement. But the biggest takeaway from their whole approach, I think,
What's that?
it's just that you learn and get better and find success on YouTube by actually doing it. You have to jump in.
That's the core message, isn't it? You can research forever, but progress comes from hitting record, editing, uploading, engaging.
Precisely.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive into the What's Up Boomer transcript really shows starting YouTube over 50 is, well, completely doable. It doesn't need crazy tech investments.
Not at all. That focus on just expressing yourself and connecting feels really relevant, especially maybe later in life when you're looking for new outlets.
So maybe something for you to think about as we finish. What passion or knowledge do you have that you might want to share? Forget about age. Forget about thinking that tech is too hard.
Right. And just consider what's maybe one tiny step you could take, even today, just to explore that possibility a little bit.
Food for thought. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Was that, well, let me just say, I was shocked. I was amazed. And I loved what they said about not only my video, but the points I made in my video. And they made it very complimentary. I felt like I'm listening to it knowing they're talking about my video. They're talking about me. They made personal references that, hey, this is pretty important stuff for a new YouTuber or, you know, a boomer, an older person. I couldn't believe the reasoning, you know, that they kind of hit it on the head as to, you know, who I am and what I was doing. And they were complimentary. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was feeling. I appreciate them acknowledging that what I was doing was maybe a good way to do it. So how did I get so fortunate to be highlighted, to be, I don't know what the word is, chosen by these people to review my YouTube video? Well, guys, here's the honest truth, as if there's a dishonest truth. Here's the truth. I wasn't chosen. I wasn't chosen. What? Let me tell you what did happen. I chose. You see, there's a new AI out there called NotebookLM AI. NotebookLM, it's a Google product, I believe. It's free. And now before y'all start in or thinking about using it as I have demonstrated by it taking my information and making a podcast out of it, all through artificial intelligence. Everything you heard on that, from the voices to, you know, how it was able to understand my rationales, my points, and put it into a discussion deep dive format. It's all AI, and it's amazing. But I won't be using AI to do those kinds of things. I mean, I guess in a way I have thought about providing, if someone just wanted to get an overview. No, I don't think I will, because if I wanted to do a podcast and use this, I'm not comfortable with that. I'd rather just do the podcast. I will use this, or I should say, how will I use this? Well, here's what I'm thinking. I got most of these ideas by watching and hearing others teach about this particular AI. And the AI, artificial intelligence community, the technology that is coming at us every day, it is scary in some ways, but on the other hand, it's really helpful, I think, and can be we have uses for it that could be really good and improve our lives. What ultimately happens is to be seen. But here's how I've used it so far and what I learned from what others were teaching, how to use this to enhance your life, better your learning. And here's the number one thing. This is a huge time saver. For example, one of the challenges I always felt is there's so many YouTube channels and ideas and things I want to learn that I don't have the time to do all this. What if we had a tool that could provide this for us, say an outline, a highlight, a summary, literally in seconds? And that's what NotebookLM is capable of doing. I've downloaded now 6 or 7 notebooks. Each notebook is a subject. It'd be just like me taking one of my notebooks. Here's one of the many I have around the house. It's filled with thoughts and lists and everything. But going through it, I have to look through it. I have to, it's cumbersome sometimes. But you can take a video, a PDF of a book. You can take, a YouTube video, and something that you're interested in. Get a link to it. You don't even need a copy. You just link it directly into a note, create a new notebook. Within seconds, it gives you a summary. Then you can go in and do a mind map. It'll outline the whole thing, all of the major points. It citations itself. So if you want to say, where did it say this in that video? There's a link. There's a not cliff notes. There's a footnote. You click on it and it brings up the exact text from the video or the book or the text that you wanted it to review. And it shows you the text in its entirety. So you can confirm the information. Now, in my deep dive podcast, I listened to, of course, the whole thing just going, wow, this guy sounds cool. This is a good idea. Oh, wait, it's me. Anyway, it did have one little miss in it, and I don't recall it off my hand. It was a little thing. It was a little bit of a misinterpretation of what I was actually meaning. So there is something to be cautionary about when using these things, even now. They're only going to get better. And this is amazing to me because literally, I think this technology has just exploded in the last, year for sure, but even in the last few weeks, these new AIs are doing things that are enriching our lives, enriching our ability to learn, to think, it's almost like having a smart friend that can give you, open your mind to the key points, the key ideas to get you thinking. Well, listen, I just wanted to share this today. NotebookLM, I could spend all day taking things from my past, books I've read or videos I'm watching now or would like to watch. And rather than get into it first to watch the whole thing, just make a notebook, download the link to it. It tells me right off the bat what it's all about in a nice summary. I can then go into specific points and then I can decide, hey, am I going to learn anything on this? Maybe not. Maybe I just skip it then. But literally, I get this information in less than a minute that helps me determine how much more of a deep dive I want to go into on, whether it be the video, also podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. So, you can waste a lot of time listening to these hour-long podcasts. And also, where are the main points? Well, you download this into NotebookLM, and you can ask it, summarize the top 10 points or the points of this episode, and 6 seconds, 5 seconds, there they are. And you can just look through it. And then you can actually click on those little notations, the footnotes. They're not footnotes, though. They're inline notations. And it will bring up in that podcast where that information was and the word-for-word account of them, the discussion of that topic. This has really been fun and amazing. I was going to do a little video that shows you how I've used it thus far, how to do it. It's so simple, really. At least for those of you with average technology skills, it's pretty self-explanatory, easy to figure out. It's free. You do need a Gmail email. And if you don't have one, you get one. They're free. And just check out this NotebookLM. I guess within the next month, there's also going to be a phone app, so you can do this on your phone, etc. But I see this as a great tool, and it's going to be very helpful. I think I really like it. I will share in the future some ideas, or I'll share some examples of how I've used it to help you understand just how it might be useful for you. If you try it out, man, share in the comments what you used it for. How did you do a video? How did it help you? How did it maybe fail? But share with me how you've chosen to use this. Did you do a book, a video, a podcast? And what you thought about it.